Fans of the show need parts to get their cars back on the road, and I intend to make sure they get them on this episode of Josh's Car Corner. So this episode is going to be kind of an impromptu episode. I wasn't planning on filming this, it just sort of worked out this way. So let me explain what's going on. See, lots of people who follow the show post comments on the episodes asking questions about the GTO, and I do the best that I can to answer them. So a few days ago, there was a guy watching episode 38, the drive shaft episode, asking if I had ever changed the U-joints in the factory drive shaft, and I hadn't. They're an oddball size, they're smaller than your average U-joints that you get over here in America, and while you can get them, they're kind of hard to track down. So I told him no, I've never changed them, and they're kind of hard to find. And by the way, if you have a drive shaft that's shot, which his is, and you need to replace it, I have a single piece of aluminum that I'm still selling. Well, we exchanged some back and forth email communication about that, and what's going to end up happening is I'm going to meet him today in Joliet, Illinois, and I am going to sell him my single piece drive shaft. Now there is one caveat to that. He has an 04. Now the 04s have a different differential. It's a little bit smaller than the 0506, and they also have a different pinion yoke coming off of the differential. But the reason I stopped using my aluminum drive shaft was because that differential adapter on mine broke. So I told him, go to drive shaft shop, get the 04 pinion flange, put it on my drive shaft, and you're off and running. So that's what he's going to do. So I'm going to sell him that drive shaft. He'll get his car back on the road, and I will have one less thing laying around my garage. Now on top of that, something else has come up. There's another guy who follows me on the show from New Mexico, and he has been looking for a factory 18-inch wheel. Well, he's actually been looking for a couple, I think, because he wants to paint them chrome, because he saw a special edition, I think it was a show car that had chrome 18-inch wheels, and he really liked that. He wants to replicate that. He's been looking for factory 18-inch wheels. And there just happens to be a guy in southern Wisconsin that's selling 2 factory 18-inch wheels. That guy doesn't want to ship them, however, all the way to New Mexico. Meanwhile, I still have the boxes that my VMR wheels came in. Well, I have one of them. So I have a perfect shipping container to ship one of the wheels, and I will make another box work somehow. So I'm going to pick the wheels up for him and ship them to New Mexico so he can finish his project. So this has now become a rolling motoring service, this show, Josh's Car Corner. So if you have a GTO and you need parts, apparently I could be your hookup. Not really. This is just an odd coincidence, but it just happens to work out, and it's going to help keep 2 more GTOs on the road, because that's one of my big goals. Is these cars are not that common, and they're only getting rarer. They imported 41,000, and if I had to make an educated guess as to how many are left on the road, I'd say there's about 30,000 left. I see new posts coming up every single day of new ones that are getting parted out and chopped up or got wrecked, and they're not going to get fixed because the parts don't really exist anymore. Holden's shutting down production, so spare production will be shut down. It's going to be harder and harder to fix these things when they get involved in incidents. So when they get wrecked, they're off the road. It's a mission of mine to try and keep as many of these things on the road as possible, because they are such great cars, and they're the kind of cars that are meant to be driven. You can stare them for a little bit to take them to car shows, but at the end of the day, these are drivers' cars. They're meant to be driven, and they should be on the road. And as an added bonus, because I'm going down to Joliet to drop off this drive shaft, there just happens to be a get-together with the Chicago Holden Connection that I'm going to be attending as well. So you'll get to see a little road trip, some other GTOs and some other owners that need some parts, and we'll see a bunch of Holdens that just got out of hibernation, as did mine. And it'll be a good day. It's going to be a really good day. So right now, I am on my way to pick up these 18-inch wheels for the guy in New Mexico. And if I'm lucky, I'll get to see the guy who's selling them's GTO, and maybe we'll get a couple of pictures of that too. Okay, so I just arrived at the house where I'm picking the wheels up, and I thought I would see one GTO, but check this out. You've got the jury, and then you've got the verdict. 2 Brazens. This is really cool. I love Pontiac, guys. Look at all this stuff. How long have you had both of these?
That one I bought in 2009. I sold my 71 Le Mans Sport. It was actually a 71 Sport turned into a 70 GTO clone, and I got tired of putting money into it, so I bought that one. I didn't want to put the mileage on this one, so I bought this one last year.
Well, that's interesting because I know I've got the Veram too. You've got the Veram on that one.
Yep.
Is this the Speed?
Yes, and I bought it with it on it already.
Nice. I'm thinking about it because I'm putting an LS3 throttle body on, or MAF on mine, and I almost think I need the Speed because it gives you just a little more gap between the plenum and the airbox.
I just like that because it's they say it's not ram air, but when you take the scoops out and you do the pipe tubing,
I don't know if I will say
it is ram air.
Well, I tuned my car too, and I have noticed that I actually gain more power when they're opened up. I can actually see it. Okay, check this out. I didn't notice this at first. He just showed this to me. Look at that. Leopard skin interior. That's awesome. And if you don't understand the whole thing behind GTOs and Tigers, it is classic Pontiac tradition that goes back to the 60s and drag racing. I actually, if you might have seen some of my videos, I used to run a Tiger tail, but I love that tiger print interior. That's awesome. Okay, I've got the wheels and I'm on my way to Joliet. I was not expecting that this morning. 2 Brazens and one all done up in Tiger detail, and just another diehard Pontiac and GTO fan. Great people. Always fun to see something like that. So now it's the long 3-hour drive to Joliet. I won't be taking any interstates, it'll all be state and US highways, so it'll give me a good chance to just kick back and relax and not have to worry about driving too fast, and actually get a good chance to bed in those new rear brakes.
Don't you know that she's so kind of wonderful? She's so kind of wonderful. Yes, she is, Jesus. She's so kind of wonderful. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, I'm in Volo, or just past Volo, Illinois. I burned up all the winter gas. I've now got a full tank of Shell V-Power 93 in the tank. Car's been doing great. The tires feel really good. Tried a bit of a medium step launch off a light back there, and with the old tires it would have just spun and hopped away, just hooked. So I'll progressively try to launch it a little bit harder and see what the limits of these tires are. But I gave it some power coming around a corner too onto another road, and it felt pretty good there too. So I'm excited. It is a gorgeous day. It'll probably get up to about 70 degrees down here. Sunny skies. Everything's awesome right now. Just awesome. It's so good to be driving a GTO again. Okay, I am on 355 south now. Been doing 75 miles an hour for the last 10 minutes, and the car felt really good, and I finally realized why. It's because I don't notice the steering wheel vibrating in my hand anymore at 75, so the new wheels fixed it. Having that hub bore the exact same diameter as the bore of the hub itself on the wheel, 69.6 millimeter, that's the key. Spacers don't work, because if they did, those other wheels would have never caused the vibration on me. Snug fitting hub bore, that's the key. Oh, feels so good. Love it. Okay, well, I'm done meeting up with the Josh who picked up the drive shaft. We could call this episode Josh's S' car corner. He's got the drive shaft now, and he'll get the adapter and get it in his car and get it back on the road. Really nice guy. He's got an 04. He's doing some things with it. Basically bought it and is going through it. Sounds like the last owner didn't take very good care of it, so he's got some things to fix. He's got good paint, good interior, so get the mechanical sorted out and he'll have himself a nice car. So look forward to seeing what he does in the future. Now I'm heading up to the northwest suburbs, meet up with the Chicago Holden Connection crowd for a little get together and some dinner. I think continue enjoying a wonderful day. Okay, so it's 8:45. The meet up for Chicago Holden Connection is over. It was a lot of fun. But it's funny, the cars all showed up in stages. So when all the cars first arrived, it was a bunch of Chevy SSs and G8s, and I think there was only me and one other GTO. And then we all went in for dinner, and we were all sitting around having a good time. And then about a half hour passes, and I go back outside, and all of a sudden the cars have all swapped. And now there's about 6 GTOs, and there's 2 SSs, and there's 3 G8s. Or 3 SSs and 2 G8s, I forget. But it was really weird to see it funnel in and out like that. So interesting how these group meets work down here. But it was a lot of fun, had a good time, caught up with some buddies, shared some car stories, lots of fun. So it was a very productive day. I'm very happy with how everything turned out. Got one guy a new drive shaft so he can get his car back on the road. Got some wheels for another guy to ship him so he can get his car set up the way he wants to, get it on the road. And got to put some good hard miles on the GTO, find out that the new wheels and tires work awesome. Love how the car rides and drives with them, and it's so good to get back behind the wheel of this old girl again and put on some miles and have some fun. So that's going to do it for this episode. Next episode will be finishing up the upgrade projects on this thing, and you will see that all. It'll be a bit of a time inconsistency thing going on because half of it was before this episode and half of it will be after. But you'll work it out. So anyway, thanks again for watching Josh's Car Corner, and we'll see you guys next time.